Chapter 28. She should have brought a pair of scissors. The lilac stem didn't snap in two as she supposed. It merely bent like a reed, and in the end she had to tear it from the shrub with her teeth. The aroma penetrated her nose and settled now in her throat, an aching, beautiful lavender taste. She held the blossom in her hand, as lightly as though it were an injured bird, and brushed with a careful finger its quivering plumage. So very small the flowers were, each containing deep in its pit what she had never noticed before, a pinch of yellow talc. In a little while, after putting on her new dress, she would attach the stem to her hair and face herself in the mirror. She would look pretty, she knew, and she held the blossom against her hair now to see how it felt. There was a rustle from somewhere at her back, and she spun around, putting the flower behind her. A black sphere moved slowly among the branches of a clump of trees across the lawn, and a moment later she made out the form of Uncle Morris, under his bowler, with the head of his walking stick flitting before him like a giant silver bee. "Lovely," he said, brushing the crown of his hat against his sleeve. She brought the lilac forward. He had seen it in her hair. He had seen her looking pretty. "It is precisely right," he continued, and she felt the corners of her lips twitch into a momentary smile. "They will like it," he added. Her hand dropped. Who will like it?" "They will, the two of them." Maggie's breath caught in her chest. What did he know? "The two of who?" "The two of your ears," Uncle Morris replied, restoring the hat to his head. "You do have two, don't you? Ah, yes, sir, they are. How clever of you to wear one on each side of your head so that you can be picked up like a vase, if necessary, and placed somewhere else." Maggie let out a breath. "Here," he said, taking the lilac from her hand and tucking it behind her left ear. "Lilacs are their favorite flower, you know, next to roses." And once more Maggie held her breath. Whose favorite flower? "But you'll need two," he continued. "One for each." And he retwisted a second sprig from the lilac bush. Maggie stared at him. "Each of who?" she whispered. "Each of your ears." He held out the blossom, and her hand reached out for an instant. "You'll want to look your best today," he went on. "This is an important day for all of you." And Maggie stepped back, not taking the flower. "For all of who?" "For all of you. Your head, your knees, your thumbs, your ankle bones, but mostly your ears." Maggie looked at him a long time and then turned toward the house, feeling his gaze on her back like a warming hand. Once, thinking he was following, she looked around, but he was standing where she had left him, staring fixedly at her and twirling the lilac between his fingers like a paper parasol. "There you are, Maggie. I've been calling you." It was Aunt Harriet's voice she heard, but the dining room was empty. It smelled of furniture polish, sharp and lemony. Maggie shielded the lilac with her hand, keeping its own smell to itself. "We'll need help carrying in the tea things," the voice went on, and Maggie at last spotted her aunt under the dining room table, rubbing its massive claw with an orange-streaked rag. "The raw cauliflower will go at the end of the table and the celery hearts at the other. The cookies and tea things will go in the center. What is that I smell?" she demanded, backing out along the floor. "Are you wearing perfume?" "No, it's this flower," Maggie answered. "I'm going to wear it today. It matches my dress." "You've been in the garden, then. Wash your hands before handling the tableware, and put the flower outside. It has mealy bugs. What's in your other hand?" "Nothing. It's for my hair." Maggie pressed the little black key into her palm and covered it with her thumb. "Where are you hurrying off to?" "Nowhere. Into the parlor." "Don't touch anything." "No." Aunt Lillian was clearing away the coats from the clothes rack in the front hall. "What are you doing in the parlor?" she demanded. "Nothing," Maggie answered. "Polishing furniture." "I hope you didn't disturb anything." "No." "Straighten your shoulders when you walk. What's that in your hair?" "It's a flower to go with my dress." "Throw it out." "It has aphids." What do you have behind your back? Nothing. It's just this rag for polishing the furniture. Maggie had reached the stairs by now, and she mounted them quickly, the orange-streaked rag heavy with its prize clasped against her stomach. We will expect you to be dressed and cleaned by 2:30, her aunt called after her. Make sure the wax is cleaned from your ears, and wash your hands and face, and arms. I don't want to see rivers on your arms. And throw away that rag. It will stain your dress. Maggie was at the top of the stairs now, and Aunt Lillian's voice followed her to her room. Make sure you speak in a clear voice when people address you, and keep your knees together when you sit. Maggie was all dressed, as she had been asked, at 2:30. Her socks were pulled up so that the ribs were perfectly straight, and the folded cuffs exactly even. The two ends of the velvet ribbon on her dress were exactly even too, and the loops of the bow lay flat and horizontal against her back, not upright as her bows usually turned out. She stood in the center of her room and set herself into a rapid spin. The skirt of her dress billowed out like a parachute, like a bluebell, like the little paper parasol she was about to give to Juniper, and the air rushing around her bare thighs felt cool and good. She smoothed out her hair at the mirror and secured the stem of the lilac blossom with a bobby pin. She had never seen herself look so nice. Isn't she pretty? Someone in her head said. Lovely, someone else answered. Lavender is just her color. Maggie! Aunt Harriet's voice sailed up the stairs. It's time you were down here. Maggie opened the dresser drawer and removed the cupcake, the candle, and the 3 matches she had taken earlier from the kitchen, and Juniper's present wrapped in a napkin. Maggie! She opened the door and stepped out. I'm coming, she answered as she made her way across the hall, her arms full. If she twisted her hips as she walked, her skirt would swish against her knees like petals in the wind, like gypsy scarves. Check your nails, Aunt Lillian called up to her, and make sure your nasal passages are clear. Maggie, do you hear me? Yes, and she continued along the hall, letting the ribbed cuffs of her socks rub rhythmically against each other. Did you do the back of your neck? Was Aunt Harriet's this time. Yes. What's taking you so long? Aunt Lillian. Maggie, Aunt Harriet. They'll be here any minute. And it was true. The moment Maggie turned the handle of the door to the attic stairs, she heard the floor below the distant hollow gong. The moment Maggie turned the handle of the door to the attic stairs, she heard from the floor below the distant hollow gong, like the echo of a sigh, of the front doorbell, and she knew the first guests had arrived. First come the presents, Maggie said, kneeling on the attic floor. Miss Christabel wore her lace shawl over the black silk dress with a long row of buttons, and Timothy John's new tie was knotted at his chin. The room itself was hung here and there with ribbons cut from her aunt's scarf. The table was decorated with more ribbons and laid with the nicest dishes from the cabinet. It's going to be a good party, Maggie thought, looking around, and she laid the 2 packages on the floor, one wrapped in a paper napkin, the other in an orange-stained rag. First yours, Juniper, she said. Here, I'll help you unwrap it. Look how nice it is. She had never given anyone a real present before, and she felt her voice quiver with excitement. It's a sunshade, she explained, for laying under, so the sun won't get in your eyes. Here, let me show you how it works. She fastened the little latch and held it up to the attic window. Look what it does when it spins, she said, and it makes this nice pink shadow when you put it down. Do you like it? We can take it to the garden after the party, and you can lie under it and go to sleep. Juniper growled very softly as Maggie placed him under the sunshade. The light filtered through the flowered paper, casting a pink glow on his head, and Maggie ran a finger along his cool china back. She felt good. It was a nice present. It's yours to keep for always, she said. It's something to remember me by, she added, recalling something that people in books said when they gave presents, and Juniper growled again. I wonder if it will turn his dreams pink, Miss Christabel remarked. And now I have a present for you too, Maggie said, turning to Miss Christabel and Timothy John, and she led them over to the table. It's for both of you together, and it's something you'll like a whole lot. She lifted the orange-stained package up to the table. I know what it is already, Timothy John said. It's another headache cloth with liniment on it. No, that's just the rag to cover it with, Maggie said. And anyway, it's furniture polish. Look what's inside. Very gently, using the tips of 2 fingers from each hand, she lifted the cloth away. At first, Miss Christabel made a little gasping noise from somewhere inside her head, and Timothy John's hands flew up to his face, but after that they were silent a long time as they gazed down at the table. I knew you would like it, Maggie said. I knew it. Finally, Miss Christabel spoke in a whisper. Selena, she said. That's what we used to call her. Remember, Timothy John? Selena, Timothy John repeated, whispering also. She's still wearing the same skirt and doing the same step, on one toe. And he reached out to touch with the fingers of his own china hand, the china hand of the ballerina, balancing on the table.